Check out them shoes,
Yeah,
though.
they solid, man. They solid, man.
Where you
You already know the Sneaker Twins, man. Global Soul, baby.
So they
Global
got
Soul.
like anything you need.
Yeah, I get all my kicks, man. If you need them, they got them.
Word.
Check it. New gear, new fit.
Hey, what's up? It's the Sneaker Twins.
Thank you for tuning in to Shopping with the Soul episode 2, where we have special guests on today. We got the Wall of Fame, and of course, man, the guest is gonna choose a pair of shoes to go home with. You guys don't want to miss out on this. Let's go! What's up, man? We're definitely here for Shopping with the Soul. We got the special guest in the house, man. Hood News at 6.
All right, guys. We're live here tonight, and I'm going to tell you guys this is going to be a good episode, so you guys might want to tune in and, you know what I'm saying? Hell, I don't know, get you some popcorn, bag of Doritos, I don't know, whatever you prefer, I'm sorry. But just make sure you guys stay tuned. It's going to be a good segment tonight over here at Seaport, so I'm sorry. I just fucked up. But it's all love. I'm going to tell you guys, we're live right here, giving you guys that live exclusive. But make sure you guys stay tuned, because I'm going to tell you, we got a good segment going on tonight. So you guys keep your eyes and your ears peeled.
All right,
If
man.
you will.
Hey, so we're gonna just go ahead and jump right into it, man. We're gonna do the interview with you, man, and ask you a couple questions, man. So let's get right into it.
Alright, for starters, man, let's start with you being a comedian. Like, what comedian do you think paved the way for you, like influenced you the most to actually want to step into the comedian role?
Cat Williams.
Cat?
Yeah, I say Cat Williams. Right, because the only reason why I say Cat Williams is for, you know, because he was kind of like the very first comedian that I ever imitated, you know, like the very first comedian that I really understood as a comedian.
Related to.
You know, and I could relate to him, you know, so, you know, his story, I could relate to that, you know, but just him in general, you know, as a human being, like I could relate to him.
That's dope. That's dope, man. Another question, man, just to piggyback off him. At what age did you feel like that you could actually be a comedian, man? At what age did you just feel like, man, I'm gonna step out and I'm gonna let this thing get career, bro?
Hey, well, I said an early age. It started really at an early age, and I probably say I was about 16, 17, you know. But it was, you know, before then I was in school and people used to say, hey man, you funny as shit. Like, man, you funny. I used to be the class clown, you know, get folks in trouble, you know what I'm saying, as well as myself, you know. But it was, you know, it was at the same time it was an experience, you know, because it was like I was trying to be Cat Williams, that idol that I used to watch and I see. And it was like I used to get in the mirror and I used to imitate him a lot until I just one day decided that, hell, damn, I sound just like him, you know? But where were your antennas when them niggas was stealing my shit out the store? You didn't see anything? You know, so it's like, you know, I watched him and I watched him and I watched him and I watched him and you know, and I just picked up his material and just started using it. Running with it, and just not only him, it was, you know, others, but he was just that main one.
Yeah, man, that's real, man. That's real.
So to piggyback off that, man, what do you feel like sets yourself apart from other comedians? Like, man, these niggas can do this, but hey, man, I got this shit that I can go to, and I know it's gonna make everybody trip out, and I'm gonna just shut this bitch down when I walk up there.
Whew, that's hard right there. but like on that note, like shit, like. So you're saying like what comedian?
Yeah, I mean like how do you feel like what do you feel like sets you apart from any other comedian?
The different personalities, as far as, you know, like everybody asks me, and this will be the first time, you know, that I speak of it to, you know, but a lot of people ask me about Brenda, Ernie, and Tony, and a lot of people think that these are actual crackheads, like, you know what I'm saying, like literally actual crackheads, but they are in a way, you know, because I'm imitating them. And the real truth is I am Brenda, Ernie, and Tony, and it's like I can act just like all three of those people in different ways, and just you know, the different voiceovers that I can do, you know, as far as Cat Williams, you know, Bernie Mac, flies, you know, just different people, you know. So
Right.
I feel like when it comes to that, that's where I feel like I'm a little different because I don't see it too much, you know,
Right.
what I can do besides Jim Carrey.
Right. Oh yeah, man. That shit dope, man. That's dope.
Say, if you had to narrow it down, with Cat Williams being number one, who would be your top 5 comedians of all time?
Top 5, Richard Pryor. Most definitely Richard Pryor.
Yeah,
It's
that's
just like
Yeah, he paid the way for everybody.
Yeah, you know, so most definitely him in all respects is Richard Pryor because at the end of the day, you know, him just being himself personally, you know what I'm saying, and just turning real life shit into funny shit, you see what I'm saying? So that's what paved the way for a lot of comedians, you see what I'm saying?
Right.
I would say my second comedian would be, you know, Cat Williams again. My third would be Mike Epps.
Okay. Okay.
And my fourth one, it would be that fat guy, I can't think his name, Lavelle Crawford.
Lavelle Crawford,
He's a good one. And Mike Ayers.
What about Bernie?
Well, Bernie Mac, most definitely. I mean, we got to slide 6. We just make 6, can we? Bernie Mac, most definitely. I mean, but Bernie Mac will be the third one, you know, most definitely Bernie Mac, because, I mean, that brother there, man, he's an original. He's a classic, man, like from Players Club to you know, all the great movies that he played in. So you know, those are my top 5, top 6 on the low.
Dope. Question, man?
I was gonna ask what Brenda, Ernie, and Tony been up to.
Oh man, I'm gonna tell you. Hold on, guys. Yes, sir. We're live right here to Global Soul as Brenda, Ernie, and Tony are out canvassing the area. Well, they said Brenda, Ernie, and Tony were caught smoking crack cocaine right behind Popeyes just an hour ago. They said Metro caught them. They said they noticed some flickering of fire behind the trash can as they were in the line trying to get a meal. But they said when they discovered, once they got back there, they discovered all 3 of them smoking crack cocaine. They said all of the crack pipes were loaded with 50s on them. They said when Metro got back there, they said Tony was down to a 20.
What's a 50?
Yeah, man, let's get that out there. What is a 50?
What is a 50, bro?
I be tripping out when you say that shit, but I don't know what the hell it
I'm gonna just, because I mean, just truthfully, like I was in the streets first before anything, you know what I'm saying? So when I say 50 might, you know, 50 is a different terminology of crack cocaine, but it's just $50 worth a dope. When I say a 50, so it's like, you ever heard of somebody say they took a 50 slab and turned that 50 into a buck? You know what I'm saying? So that's what that means. And normally when I say, or if I say down to a 20, so that means they smoked it down to a 20 rock. You know what I'm saying? So it's like they done bought something for 50, which is a lot of dope for a crackhead. You know what I'm saying? And then when they done smoked it down to a 20, it's like, oh, these motherfuckers here be smoking. So that's what kind of make it extra, you know, give it that funniness to it, you know, when I speak on that. But when I speak on Brenda, Ernie, and Tony, these are made up names, but they are based off of like real crackheads that I know. You know what I'm
Damn,
saying?
that's dope, bro.
So
That's really dope.
it's like as years as me, you know, being around it and just, you know, partaking in, you know, in that area as, you know, as I was coming up, but, you know, experiencing it and seeing it, you know, actually when they hit the dope and how it changed their whole mood and all of that, like that's weird. It's crazy, but it's different. You know what I'm saying? I don't ever want to experience no shit like that ever. Shit, but it's like it's different. You know, it's a whole different world for them. It's like it's different than just going and rolling up a joint and hitting the joint. You know, it's gonna take a little minute for the joint to kick in, but you hit the crack, it's like. They lock up and turn to a whole different person. You know what I'm saying? I don't do that no more. I don't hang around them before.
They go
You know what I'm
full
saying? Yeah, you know what I'm saying? They go crazy on you. You know what I'm saying? You might want to pull out a razor blade on you. You just never know.
So man, I wanted to get just a little bit more of like your background and your history, man, and like for the people that don't know you, and I know where you're from, but
Right.
tell us where you're from, man, and tell us how you grew up and things of that sort, so we can get to know you a little bit more.
Well, I grew up in a small city. Everybody kind of somewhat familiar with, but when they speak of my city, they normally speak of it in a bad way. But you know, I speak of Savannah not in a bad way, but I speak of it in an uplifting way because I feel like it's a lot of work that can be done in my city, which is Savannah, Georgia, is where I'm from. So shout out to my city, Savannah, Georgia, most definitely. You know, even though a lot of people say it's a lot of hate and a lot of violence that go on, but that's just not in Savannah, that's everywhere. But it's like me being a Savannah native, coming from that city, born and raised, you know what I'm saying? I've experienced a lot coming up as a kid, you know what I'm saying? And just as far as crime and, you know, not even that, just I experienced it has its good times and its bad times, you know? And like with Savannah, it's like, you know, you got your historical part, then, you know, you got the hood part, you know?
Right.
So it's like when I came up as a child, you know, I grew up with in a family of 10, you know what I'm saying? 10 kids. Mama had 10 kids. Damn, mama. She had 10 kids, it was 10 of us, you know, and I wasn't born, but I lost one of my oldest brothers. His name was Omar. I lost him before I was even born, but you know, when I was born, I was notified about it, and it was giving me the history of it and all that stuff. But you know, as a child, you know, it was kind of rough for me. It wasn't easy. It was, you know, I had some real rough times. You know, I've dealt with real niggerish shit. You know, like, you know, just keeping it real. Like, you know, I've dealt with evictions. You know what I'm saying? I've dealt with having to get your lights cut off and not getting your shit cut back on till 2-3 weeks later till you get enough money up to pay Georgia Power and shit. Because when they want it, they want it. You know what I'm saying? So I've had nights where we had to sleep in the dark, burn candles. You know what I'm saying? So when I joke about stuff like that, I turn my real life stories into like jokes, you see what I'm saying? Because it's relatable. Because even though some people might not feel comfortable to speak about it, you feel what I'm saying? Here I am letting them know it's okay to speak about it, especially if you in a better position than you was then, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, I thank God for that, you know what I'm saying? But it was hard times as a kid coming up in Savannah, you know, because at the end of the day, you had a lot of hate going on, a lot of crime, you know, real heavy going on in the city. And it's like, with me as a kid, having to sit in the house, you know, at a certain time and being on punishment, can't go outside, but mama watching TV, watching Gunsmoke, if it was dad, or, you know, watching Law and Order or whatever, you sitting right there watching it with her. Andy Griffin, it don't matter, you watching it with her. With the news come on, I used to be right there watching it with her. So, you know, with me watching TV and sitting and watching the news and all that stuff, that is kind of where hood news come in at too, you know what I'm saying? Because it's like,
that's dope.
as a kid, I used to sit back and watch a lot of stuff that go on that I wouldn't speak about, even if the police approached me, you know, in every black neighborhood, you know, even right now as an adult, I understand why they say, you know, don't snitch, you know what I'm saying? Like, and I'm quite sure everybody know that in every black neighborhood, don't snitch. Not even in the black neighborhood, you know, no offense, but just, it's like, they know that, you know what I'm saying? But it's like, okay, I used to sit back and watch shit go on, and I used to be right there, might be right there when it happened, but boom, here come the police, here come the ambulance, here come the lioness and the news media. Shit gets so twisted real quick, like, we're live right here. They said Antoine shot little Pookie. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, oh man, they lying like a fuck. That wasn't Antoine that shot little Pookie. They lying like a fuck. That was Brenda them. You know? So it's like, oh man. But I'm not gonna say nothing because it ain't my place. You know what I'm saying? So as time went on, I got a little older. You know, I started. You know, as far as on the comical side. You know, once again, I used to go to school, get in trouble, get other people in trouble. A lot of people tell me I'm funny. Teachers used to tell me, oh man, you being a fucking all the way live comedian and you ain't even getting paid for that shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, you good, but you ain't getting paid for it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I used to hear that all the time. like you a comedian, you ain't even getting paid for it. You know, I had my times where, you know, I used to, you know, get into trouble with my oldest brother. You know, I remember when we jumped trespassed inside of the community pool. It was called Tompkins Center. We trespassed inside a community pool. Police called us, brought us home. We got our ass to the police. He was like, "Hey man, you know, I ain't seen nothing." You know, I'm like, "Damn, what you ain't gonna take us?" You beat the shit out of us with this rape. So I'm like, you know, as a kid, I'm like, you know, as having dealings with polices and just having run-ins with the law and just all of that just, you know, played a part of my life with Hood News too, you know.
Right.
So one day I had got on probation with my brother, and I used to have the probation officers telling me that same thing. Hey man, you funny as shit, man, but you got to do something, you know. And shouts out to Mr. Players, Leon Williams. That was my probation officer. He used to stay on my ass. I'm talking about them guys used to be to my door like 4, 5 in the morning with flashlights and all. Hey, Rico in here? Is Rico in here? I'm like hanging out the top one light, nigga. I'm in here. I'm asleep. Still want me to come to the door. I'm like, Lord, you know. So, but at the end of the day, it was more like, you know, I didn't understand then, like, damn, why they always want to, you know, and me being ignorant at that time, but not ignorant, but just not having an understanding and not looking at it for what it really was. I got in trouble. So that's what their job is, you know what I'm saying? That's just as well as anybody else, they got a job, you know what I'm saying? But all in all, you know, I just took my whole life story and just put it in the Hood News, you know what I'm saying? And I felt like with the news media, they always used to lie, so I felt like, okay, shit, with Hood News, you know, I can do that. I can do what the news do. So it took for me to do one story, and it was St. Patrick's Day night. And this white lady was coming from Tybee Island, which is our beach. She was coming from Tybee Island. She ran into a palm tree, and she was drinking. So I'm like, oh man, that's pretty fucked up. And we had the light and, you know, seen it. So I'm like, oh, well, let's pull up and let me act like the news people real quick, because I had done, you know, I was partaking in a little marijuana that night, if you will. I was partaking in a little weed that night, and I told the driver, why don't you just pull over and let's get this here story. So, you know, that first night, man, I did that video, and I was talking exactly how I was talking just a minute ago, and I was like, oh man, I'm like, when I did the video, you know, I was like, I don't even know how people gonna think, like, you know, what like, is they gonna laugh, like, cause I'm talking like this, or is they gonna think I'm trying to be funny, or, you know what I'm saying? Right. But lo and behold, man, that first video I dropped hit 20,000 views that night, like in one night, and that 20,000 was ran up in an hour. Like I got 20K in an hour. Damn. That next morning I woke up, that video was sitting at 40,000. I was like, shit, like, yeah. So it was like, okay, now we got something here, but I wasn't calling myself Hood News at that time. At that time, it was just, hey, we're live right here on the scene, as you guys can see here. We did have a Caucasian lady here who was drinking and driving tonight as she was coming across from Tybee Island, you know what I'm saying, giving them that story. But at that moment, as everybody was telling me when I dropped that video in the shares and the comments, like, somebody get this man a job. This man should be a news reporter. And it's like, hey man, we want you to do some more shit. Like, come on with it. Like, do another one. Like, and that started a trend since there. And then I'm not gonna lie, when I started that, I put my number on the internet. I downloaded the police app on my phone, and I used to go around and chase stories, like in the hoods, and it was like exciting at the same time, but it was scary as hell, because the shit that the police was doing in my city was pretty fucked up, you know what I'm saying? Because it's like, y'all know these are teens that stealing these cars, and y'all riding them through residential neighborhoods and making them wreck out and hit people's houses and all of that shit, you know what I'm saying? And making them hurt themselves, and at the same time, instead of just hopefully, you know, taking a different approach about the situation. You know what I'm saying? And I understand they got a job to do as well, but at the same time, it was like me in the car with my scanner on, and I'm hearing them say, "Hey, we got a stolen vehicle riding down 33rd and Ott," and I'm just so happen to be in the area in the truck, and I'm like, "Hey, I just heard it on my phone. They in the area. Come on, let's go over there." So as soon as I get over there, it's like a whole fucking crime scene, and I'm jumping out like, "Hey, we live right here on such and such and such street." And that day that I dropped that, it was like after doing multiple videos, it was like maybe like around my 6 or 7 videos. I was in the truck one day, me and my stepmom, she was asking me, she was like, "Man, you got something going right here right now, and everybody liking this right now, so you got to find out a name on what you gonna call what you doing." At first, I was just, you know, dropping my videos at 6 o'clock. It wasn't no title on it, no name. It was just me dropping videos at 6 o'clock. So it went from me dropping them at 6 to we pulling off from one crime scene like, "Hey man, you got to come up with a name." So we in the car like, damn, I dropped my videos at 6, and I'm always in the hood, like, you know, going to all these neighborhoods and doing something. And then that's when we both, I tell you no lie, I can't make this up. We both said it at the same time. We was like, "Hood News at 6. I was like, God damn, that's what I'm gonna call it. The Hood News at 6. And I started calling myself the Hood News at 6. And then I wish I had something to really prove that, but I mean, just me speaking on it, you know what I'm saying? I ain't lying, but Facebook made me change my name because they had something going on where they wanted people, Facebook, you know, they was trying to tighten up on, you know, people with fake pages and all that stuff. So they was trying to get people to put their real names on their Facebooks instead of just Lil Baby Pistol style, you know what I'm saying? Instead of the shit like that. So at first on Facebook, before I had Instagram, before I had YouTube, and before I had Snapchat and all that, it was me just with an Android cell phone. And that's another thing. I started Hood News off an Android cell phone. All my videos I ever did was off an Android cell phone. This year right here is the first year I had an iPhone and was able to do with better quality. But all of the years of me doing Hood News with an Android phone, I ain't gonna lie, that everybody was like digging the shit. Like, you know, it was like, "Oh man, we respect that shit." Like, but the way it was looking, it was like, damn, this guy like got a whole fucking camera crew. Like, I literally had a whole crew like working with me, but it was all family though. I had security with me. I had my cameraman. I had the driver driving the truck. I had a big ass Suburban truck with the Hood News on the back of it. like I ain't gonna lie, it was dope. Like, cause it was like I was branding myself, and it was like trying to. But at the same time, it was like I was dealing with real life shit too, cause you know there was a lot of crime. Like I told y'all, a lot of crime in the city. And not only that, you know, me being who I am, I like to be in the hood. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it ain't just one neighborhood I like to be in. It's like I fuck with everybody. So it's like I might be over here on the east side in this hood, I might be over here on the west side in this hood, but it's like everywhere I go, the detectives and police and unmarked cars is like lurking, trying to catch the drug dealers or whatever they're trying to do. You know what I'm saying? But me, you know, I just, you know, might be in the area, but when I'm in my truck, they kind of didn't understand at that moment who Hood News really was. You know what I'm saying? They didn't understand who Hood News was. So it took for them to keep pulling my truck over, pulling it over. And I dropped one video, I got tired of it. So one day when they tried to pull the truck over, I went live and showed the whole world what was going on from the beginning to the end. The end part, it was no good. I ain't gonna lie, cause that's when I turned up after the police had left. Like, I was talking shit, but at the same time, letting the folks know your rights. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't just let the police pull you over and think that, oh shit, it's the police. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's get scared. No, fuck that. No, let them be scared, because you doing what you're not supposed to do. You know what I'm saying? And thank God for phones now. You know what I'm saying? Because half the times, just because the police got their body cams on them, that don't mean they always turning them shits on. Right. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's always foul play. But that's another reason why Hood News is Hood News, you know what I'm saying? Because I was trying to get people to get an understanding on don't let them do that to you. You know what I'm saying? Go live, let the whole world see it. Because if the whole world's seeing it, then that means it's gonna be a stop to that shit. You know.
Right.
So everybody was scared. A lot of people in the city was scared. So I was the only person in the city that literally was not scared of the police. Like, I'm telling y'all no lie. I will walk up to the whole, like, this the yellow tape. I'm standing right there in front of the yellow tape. Like, we're live right here on the scene. As you guys can see, we have Metro, and they looking at me like, what the fuck? And who is this guy here? Like, but as time went on, and they started seeing it float through social media on Facebook, they started knowing, like, oh, this the Hood News guy. Like, okay, but I'm gonna tell you the truth. They thought that they was using Hood News to be, informative to them, because they felt like if they watched my, videos, and I'd have some of everybody in my videos, you know what I'm saying? Like, especially when I'm in the hood, and half of these niggas in the hood might be some killers, they might be, you know what I'm saying? Like, they might be the nigga who you looking for with all the drugs, I don't know, you know what I'm saying? They don't like to say anything, I'm just saying shit. But, but they have the, so I was like, I'm always somewhere, and they try to use Hood News to try to help benefit themselves with trying to work out getting folks off the street. So once I caught on to it, and I'm like, okay, I need to put a different twist to my shit, because that right there, I can't have that, because at the end of the day, I'm not snitching, and on every story that I ever did, this is why I was well respected with what I did, and I was allowed to go in everybody's neighborhood without nobody pulling their gun out or nobody's talking shit like, oh, Hood News, don't bring your ass around with that shit. I kept it, like I always tell them, it's confidential. You know what I'm saying? If you guys know anything, you actually keep your mouth shut, because that shit be real. I always tell them that. You see what I'm saying?
Confidential
Yeah,
rental.
and the confidential, yeah, we got to keep it confidential in a rental. Got a couple of niggas here riding confidential in a rental, if you will.